Well, hey there. Welcome to Real WW Talk. I am Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
Hey, and if this is your first time joining us, welcome. We're really glad that you're here.
Nice to see you.
Yes.
First off, I wanted to say the ladies and I gathered over the weekend and we did a little bit of dreaming and scheming type of thing. And we went for a walk.
We did.
Which was so much fun because it made me feel like our early days of WW where we'd like hang out in the parking lot and talk, but we walked and talked.
And Erin was our tour guide. She was like,
Yes.
and here is this fall foliage. And look over here. This is pretty. And Erin and I, Rikki and I got to follow along. So it was great.
You're like, hey, look at that tree. It looks just like the other one. No.
Hey, look, it made going up the hill. She was even nice enough. She's like, look, there's only one hill. Just go with me here. I got you. So
I took you up the gradual hill. I didn't take you up the steep hill. I left the steep hill for the downward climb.
They had to hit their step goals. So I was on a rest day. So she took them away that you all could actually hit the goal and not pass out. So that's always nice.
Yeah, Candice gets our Bravo stars from the meeting because she had a rest day from the step bed and you joined in with Rikki and me who somehow left our power day, which is the big day, for the absolute last day. What were we thinking?
That happened.
Well, you rewarded with chocolate treats. So, I mean, I couldn't be but so upset. So I said, if I'm going to get chocolate at the end, then I guess I'll walk. So
we ate lunch. Candice picked up some salads from Chopped for us. Mm-hmm. Then we went for a walk and came home and ate chocolate cake. So,
I mean, it's only right. It's only right. It makes sense. Yin and yang.
It is. I wanted to bring up, we've got a couple people from the Real WW Talk Facebook group that I wanted to highlight. Amy, she wrote, now that we've all declared a side in the candy corn wars, let's talk about other polarizing food choices. What do you love or hate that everyone around you seems to feel the opposite? For example, I think pumpkin pie is gross. Amy is not down with the pumpkin pie.
You guys only ever had sweet potato pie?
Excuse me?
I've only ever had sweet potato pie.
I thought you just said I've never had sweet potato.
That's what I heard too.
No, I said I've only ever had that. So I haven't had pumpkin pie. But I know it's probably similar, right?
I feel like it's very polarizing, especially in the Black community, because there's some Black people who are like, we don't do pumpkin pie.
Yes, we do sweet potato pie.
I think depending on how it's seasoned, it can taste similar, but some people would argue that they're extremely different.
Okay.
I think the texture is different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Personally, I prefer sweet potato pie over pumpkin pie.
Isn't that what Patti LaBelle makes, her sweet potato pie?
Yes. Yeah. And then you all know, like I'm very white girl vegan that thing up and do a purple sweet potato pie.
And you scared when we did our turkey trot. And I'll never forget because I like sweet potato pie. And Erin's like, I have one that's purple. And I'm like, here we go. We go again. She's like, I'm just going to bring you a little cup of it. And it was actually quite fantastic. I've just been waiting for another cup every year. Erin, are we doing it this year?
I got to go get my purple sweet potatoes.
Sounds delicious.
Let's see, what else do we have in here? Sandy, she said, hey, I am new to this page, so this might be super old news or super old ass for all of you, but I'm wondering when the app updates come to Canada, if any of you know. I heard on your podcast that there are some great changes in the US, so now I'm excited for when we get it in Canada. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to put that out there to anybody in our Canadian audience who might have the scoop that we don't. Hop in there and let us know, because we'd love to know if you know anything about that. But not all the changes have happened here in the US. Rikki and I had some app jealousy because Candice has app privilege, apparently.
Yeah, I thought I was going to bring that up when we had our meeting, and I'm over here like, no. Erin's like, click here for the recipe thing. I said, Erin, that's not the way that it is anymore. She's like, Candice. So I think she thought, yet again, I need to teach her. I said, no, it's like a new thing. Wow. Like they have redone the apps, and I think they're doing it in stages in terms of how they're releasing it. But mine showed up about a month ago in this new format, like a brand new homepage. You can't, because usually I screenshot my day sometimes just to have like a memory of what I ate. You can't fit everything in anymore, but I really enjoy the progress page. But Erin, you have the progress page.
So that's what's weird.
Mhm.
I have the progress page, but that's the only thing that's changed for me. Nothing else. The front screen hasn't changed. And then Rikki,
She has none of it.
nothing.
No, I have the progress page.
Oh, you do have the
Oh,
progress
Yeah,
page.
and
Oh.
then I like the page after that that has like recipes and stuff. I noticed that was kind of
Mhm.
new.
yeah.
Yeah, I have progress and I have what to eat, which was updated at some point. So I have the 4 tabs at the bottom,
Yeah.
with what to eat being somewhat different, but my tracker page looks exactly the same.
Okay. And I
But
really like the upgraded tracker page because you just can see, I think the layout makes it easier to see what you've done for the whole
snapshot
day.
of the day.
Okay.
The one thing that we did notice that was different is you can't share recipes
Yeah.
That's
in
crazy.
the new version that Candice has. So I'm hoping that that's a feature that'll be added back
And
into
I'll
it.
also warn you, because it's been a big discussion on Connect, when you go in to try to do like to calculate the points for a recipe, it's not easy to do. I actually had to contact customer service because you have to use the barcode scanner and put in like a fake code and then go to track, like create a new recipe. Like it's not it used to be that you just hit the plus and said, I want to create a new
Right.
create a new food. You have to go through all these steps. So I think that's a glitch that they're probably going to fix, because
Okay.
now you're just seeing people put in random numbers to try to figure out how to get the points for a food.
You all
But,
know I use my recipe builder all the time. I think that's just one of the best features.
it is.
Mhm.
It would be kind of cool if it worked a little bit like MyFitnessPal or some of the other ones where you can scan it and it
Mhm.
automatically puts the information and then you could adjust
Mhm.
No,
from
they
there.
tried that and it didn't really work very well.
Well,
Remember,
they
I
need to
showed
try again because that was
Try
years
again.
ago.
Yeah. Come on,
Come on,
SEMA.
WW.
SEMA and Oprah. Come on.
That's
Get
right.
it done.
Help us out. Help us out here. And then finally, we want to cheer Nola on. She said, I have a non-scale victory. I logged honestly yesterday. I went out with my husband and had a steak dinner. I opted to eat the before dinner rolls and veggies as sides. And after dinner, we Christmas shopped and had crumble cookies. It turned into an 85-point day. I am sitting here with negative 24 weeklies and 23 dailies. My points don't reset until Monday. She wrote this on Saturday. The non-scale victory being I feel zero guilt today. And the cookie did not send me into a sugar frenzy. Who is this girl? I am
Love
so
it.
proud of me today.
Way to go, Nola.
So many wins. So many wins. My favorite part of that is I felt no guilt. I think that's what she said. Like
Mhm.
I'm able to move on from it. She didn't label it. It is what it is.
Mhm.
And she honestly tracked.
Yes.
That's a big deal. That's something she's gonna remember because, you have days like that and it shows you that you can do it again,
Yeah.
like,
Put the wins in the
when it's
bank.
important or significant.
And we all know too, just because you see the negative number in the weeklies, that doesn't always mean you're going to gain weight.
Mhm.
I had
Right.
negative weeklies last week and lost 2.6. And I'm not saying that in a way to like put it out there for another, but just that's a factual thing that I had to
Mhm.
show myself,
Mhm.
because perfectionist Candice was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to lose. And I did. I
That's
did.
awesome.
So it is possible. So congratulations to her. I love that. And I love that personal accountability.
Mhm.
Yay. So ladies, one of the things that I have picked up in our group is there is already some holiday anxiety and staying on track through the holidays. I think that's because we've just come through Halloween, so we had all of the candy there, and now we're looking at Thanksgiving because that's only a couple weeks away, and then we've got Christmas and all of each. We've got 3 holidays in each month, all with their own special things, special candy, plus then the change of fall. So let's just say this is 4 months of specialness. And in some way, you kind of get burned out, but then other ways, you're like, well, it's not Christmas if I don't do this, right? So the anxiety just feels like it started a little bit earlier to me, but I just thought maybe we could talk through some ideas on how to stay on track at the holidays. Maybe some things that have worked for us, maybe some things that haven't worked for us and we want to do it differently this year. What are you thinking?
I know for me, meal prep is going to be just so key because if I don't have food prepared at the house, I'm more likely to kind of grab and go because that's just what I decide to do. So utilizing my Sunday for me is my meal prep day, and having the food prepared is going to just be vital and necessary. So I have to really prioritize that and make it a non-negotiable, because I think sometimes I've allowed the parties and the things that are going on to be like, oh, I'll grocery shop later. And then I don't have the stuff. And then on Sunday, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. But that's been my downfall in the past. So I want to just try something new this year and say, that this is going to happen. Meal prep is key. You just have to do it.
Do you meal prep differently at the holidays than you do other times of the year?
I don't know if I do. I don't know. I feel like I try to find different recipes. But that's just more, for me, it's not necessarily holiday driven. It's more seasonal. Okay. That makes sense. So like, okay, we're going into winter, it's fall. Like I tend to do crock pot meals like a lot. So it's not specific for the holiday. Holiday cooking is one thing, but meal prep is a little different. What about you guys?
Well, for me, I've been thinking a lot about changing this in this general pre-holiday season too. What I need to focus on more is 0-point snacks, low point snacks, because I think, the holidays are those times where you have more indulgent things available. And while I want to prioritize, the things that are really meaningful for me, and that might be high points during the holiday season and having points for that, I also want to make sure that I'm not like starving myself to have that. So if I can prioritize finding things like snacks and things that are low point or 0-point, fruits and vegetables and other things that might have more protein and nutrition in them, that I can have that to include. So I'm feeling full, and I'm also able to have points set aside for the things that I'd like to track ahead of time that are special for whatever holiday season it is.
Have you found any new recipe? Have you seen any recipes or searched the app for any recipes, Rikki? Because I've seen a lot of them that they now, that you can put in. I just love the recipe part where you can put in the vegetable name, and it just.
I haven't explored that yet. I need to explore that, definitely.
That's been amazing for me. Like, you put in Brussels sprouts, and Weight Watchers will tell you every recipe they have in there.
Okay.
To make. So that's a good idea. I feel like that might give the variety, because like I'm trying to get in more vegetables, more green things, and you don't just want to boil them or bake them or, broil them
or mash them or
and I don't have that Erin head where it's just like, what I want to do is just take a little mint and put it on top of the Brussels sprout, and then just a little Parmesan, and just like, that's just not how my mind. I need a recipe to tell me. I don't know if you're like me. I need somebody to tell me what to do.
I do too. I can't experiment in the kitchen. Not a good idea.
That's when I will not be married anymore.
Recipes are the foundation, and once you get the feel of the recipe, then you experiment.
I tried it once, and David was like, "Don't do that." I don't know whose page that was that you tried it from. I said, "I made it up myself." He's like, "Yeah, don't do that."
I will say some of these like TikTok recipes, like for example, this week I made lasagna soup. I'd been seeing that around, and I made it, and I realized after I went and bought everything at the store that when you screenshot things from Instagram or TikTok, they don't always include like what to do, like the instructions. So I was like, well, this will be simple. And it actually, turned out okay. The proportions were a little off, because when I had some for dinner, it was like, oh, these noodles got really big. I thought I did a good job in not adding too many noodles, but by the time they had soaked it all up, it looked almost like regular lasagna in the pan. But I say all that to say, like, I think if you're tasting things as you go, and, there's some room for being able to be creative. And I think that's something I've learned, is just sample it as you go. Obviously, you want to track licks, bites, and tastes, but I
they
think
don't
that
count
helps a lot.
That's called experimenting, right?
Do you guys have any plans? I feel like there are two kind of big categories at this time of year. One isn't quite that big of a factor for us, but I know that it is a competing factor for someone else, and that is alcohol,
Mhm.
along with desserts, candy, cakes, specialty Starbucks drinks that are the equivalent of Candice's cream cheese pound
Yeah.
cake,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, those things can be just loaded. So good though.
Yes.
Mhm. How, so if you're looking through the end of the year, right? Like, how are you planning? Are you planning for those, or like when they come up, are you just gonna be like, well, I'm going to eat it?
I think what we did this weekend was honestly, a great plan that anyone can use during the holiday. We got movement.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lower point, or, we had our fruit, our vegetables, we had our salad. And so there was no guilt in having the cake, because it wasn't like those things were, it wasn't, cake wasn't a consequence. It was just like, that was the thing that we were going to have. And I felt good about the other choices. So
Mhm.
it's what you always hear. If you're going to have the appetizer, are you going to have the appetizer or the drink or the dessert? Not all three.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of
Which
goes into,
some people may not have heard that. Can you
oh,
say that again? Because I think that that's a really good thing to think about.
yeah, that was something some leader, or maybe a
Heather.
all Weight Watch Heather,
Mm-hmm.
talked about. When you go out to eat, instead of thinking about yourself as being limited, think about the things that are the extra to the meal. You either have an appetizer or a drink or a dessert. So instead of having all three of them, choose one that you feel is most important to you and make that the thing. And the other ones, let it go. And that's what I felt great about this weekend. Even though they laughed at, you all may have chuckled because I counted the points for Erin's cake. I know how many points it is,
Mm-hmm.
but there was no like, oh, I can't have it. I can't believe this. And I was able to move on from it,
Mhm.
and I think that that's something that we all need, is that freedom to feel good
Mm-hmm.
about the thing. If it's the Starbucks drink that's 85 points, it's like, okay,
Mhm.
well,
Right.
that's what I plan for. And I'm also going to use Erin's technique. And maybe if I know it's coming up for the week, I'm going to put it on a Friday so I can have it, after work, and that's just it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really good point. And I think also knowing your triggers, for me, if I'm going to have a high point Starbucks drink, historically, I would just go ahead and get a high point sandwich too. So, like, maybe knowing
Mm.
that I'm going to make something like a different choice there too. Like, okay, what I really want is this high point drink. I know that the Starbucks has a six, I think it's still 6 points, turkey sandwich. It's a turkey breakfast sandwich, turkey sausage, egg white sandwich. Like, yeah, it's not as good as the 16-point sausage one, but if I'm already going to have a hot 20-point drink and I know that I'm also getting something for breakfast, I'm choosing to get something for breakfast from here, I can make a sacrifice. It feels like the wrong word, but like I can make a different choice and have the sandwich, the turkey sandwich, because in the end, the rest of my day is probably going to be more successful because I didn't just blow 50 points in the morning.
Rikki, you made a really good point there about the food combination, that
Mhm.
sometimes for us, there are certain food combinations that go together that create that very large point deficit.
Mhm.
And is it possible to try maybe just once, like you're saying,
Mhm.
to do one or the other and see how it makes you feel. See, the thing with WW is, yeah, you can definitely do that for sure. You just log it. Okay. If that's
Mhm.
what's worth it to you, then do it. But if you sit down and maybe you put it in your tracker ahead of time, you
Mhm.
may go, this doesn't feel quite worth it right now. So there might be a time where this full combination is right, and others times where it isn't. I'll give you an example for me. I love burgers and french fries together. I don't always enjoy eating burgers without the french fries without the burger. But there are times where I will evaluate and go, this is not the day for burgers and French fries together. And I'm okay with that. And I will have the salad, like a grilled chicken salad with the French fries. And then there are times where I'll have just the burger, but I'll get it in a bowl. So I have more of the veggies. And it just, I'm better to, I can receive it better that way. And it makes me feel more on plan and more on track when I do it that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that there also is a piece to this of acceptance of the fact that on any plan, and we've said this a lot, you can have anything you want, but you can't have it all at once. Like that's just, there's no plan, right? And so if you're going to choose to consistently do that, especially during the holiday, what we talked about, adjusting your expectation for the holiday season. Like I'm not looking to lose because I'm looking to maintain, or I'm okay with gaining about 5 pounds, but I want to stop it there.
Mhm.
Because even what Erin, your example with the burger and fries, you may say, you and me, I love Five Guys burger is my thing, right? But I might not be able to have all of the little fries by myself. I might have to have a portion if I want to have that combination. I can't eat as many of the fries as I normally would because I would be outside of the points budget.
Right.
So that's only if I want to do the plan the way the plan was created and not do Candice's version where I'm just consistently going over. And that's been my challenge, is that I tend to get into a pattern of doing Candice's plan, which is, okay, I tracked it, but I'm over, but it's okay. At some point, yeah, but that's not Weight Watchers, because the boundary is a boundary. And there is that piece that has to say, I need to stop doing that.
Mhm.
Or I am understanding the repercussion is that I'm not going to lose weight this season, and that's not my goal.
Right.
Mhm.
Nothing changes if nothing changes. So
Yeah.
we do have to think about different ways and different things if we want a different result.
Yeah.
And sometimes that requires saying no to what we want now in the moment,
Yeah.
and yes to what we want.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
My son regularly is teaching me. I mean, I'm seeing what it is to use that example of a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old who wants what he wants, and it's not the best thing for him. And sometimes he just has to throw a tantrum, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes we have to hear our tantrum and do what Rikki said. I'm getting the 6-point turkey bacon one
Mhm.
when I really want the 16-point sausage one.
Mhm.
I will be okay. I have the 20-point drink. I'm not going to die. Maybe next week I'll have the sausage and not have the drink. Or if I'm going to have both, I'm going to gain weight. And
Mhm.
those conversations, making that okay, is
Mhm.
something I'm working on, because I can be very rebellious. And I think I'm winning something by, like, you're not going to tell me what to do, to
Mhm.
myself. Like, who am I arguing with? Like, who am I fighting with?
And I feel like half the times when it's that combination of foods that you feel like you have to have together, if you make a different choice and choose the thing that's more important out of the two, it's not like later in the day I'm like, man, I wish I had that sandwich. Like sometimes there's one thing that I'm like, okay, I'd like peppermint bark this season. I really want to try that. And if I don't have it, I might still think about it. But if it's something that's been paired with something that I'm just used to pairing it with, I really am not regretting making that choice. It's just in the moment, like you're saying, Candice, that I want to throw a tantrum and say, but I want it. And when I realized that it's not that important, and the thing that I wanted to use my points on was the drink, I'm happy I had the drink and I'm not thinking about the sandwich the rest of the day.
And the last thing, I just wanted to add this, because I actually posted this on my Connect page when I went to New Jersey for some business travel with my husband. I knew that there was going to be a lot of eating out. And that's something that I know we struggle with sometimes during the holidays, a lot of meals and parties and things. But I made an intentional effort to half everything. Like if I got a burger, I ate half of it. And I said, I'm going to put the other half. We had a refrigerator, thankfully, in our room. I put the other half in the fridge. And if I want it tomorrow, then it'll be there, because there was a microwave. If I had dinner, half of it. By the time I got to the end of the trip, I had this refrigerator full of food that I had stopped thinking about. Like I wasn't hungry after I wasn't over there. It was just so interesting when I intentionally focused on the portion and made that a goal, how I forgot, like you said, Rikki, I forgot about the food. And by the end of the trip, I was like, oh, I got all these half meals that I don't really want.
Hmm.
They
And
don't
those were
taste as
safe
good
points.
reheated.
Yeah.
We did have somebody in the Real WW Talk Facebook group, which you're welcome to join. Just search Real WW Talk on Facebook. She had shared a non-scale victory for her, and it was a light bulb moment where exactly what you're sharing, Candice. It wasn't that she hasn't ever thought to do it before. She's just never felt like she would be able to do it. And it was such a light bulb moment for her that like, wow, I can actually not eat this and have this later. It's just never been a practice. And it was such, like a great moment for her that she actually can stretch this out and have, I think it was a whoopie pie or something like that over 4 days instead of eating it all at once. I love those little light bulb moments. And that's the same thing when we get into the holidays, all the candies and the treats. We don't have to eat the pie all at once. We can even actually reduce the size of a slice and try that reduced slice first before eating the big wedge. Now, I'm not going to do that when the pecan pie comes out. I'm just saying that right now. I want the full wedge. I'm doing the full wedge, y'all.
I mean, if that's what's important to you, then you're going to track it and move on.
That's it.
But I think one thing that we have to like also destigmatize ourselves from too is throwing away food, like that it's okay to throw away food. Because like Candice, you're talking about with the leftovers. What if you had been like, well, I guess I have to eat this, let me heat up this 2-day-old burger and, I'll have it, but it's not really what I want because I wanted to try this or I want, like, I think we have to be okay with that, like being intentional and mindful, because obviously we know what we've been told growing up. There's, children in insert whatever country, who are starving.
As if you eating your full plate will save these children.
Right. But I think we have to unlearn that and know that there's, it's great to support people who are hungry in whatever ways we can. But me throwing away half of a cheeseburger that instead of stuffing myself is really the best choice for me and for, my body. And I can help other people in ways that are tangible too.
The best way for me to support somebody is to donate money.
Yes.
Mhm.
They don't want my half-eaten salad, I promise.
Right.
No.
It's not my half-eaten salad. Exactly.
That's such a key point, Rikki. I really think that's major because I've grown up, my grandmother, who, when we would go on church trips, always had like the half sandwiches and things, I feel like, and she'd always pull it out. It was always this feeling that you had to eat everything, because if not, grandma was going to put it into a plastic bag and have it for the trip. She would go to the buffet and try to figure out how to hold the rolls. But you have to recognize, like you said, that there's nothing for me personally. The taste isn't the same. And it's better for me and my health goals to say it's okay for me to let it go. There's something freeing about it too,
And even leaving it at the restaurant. I've done that more recently, where I've been like, sometimes I feel guilty, so I'll just package it up, even if I know I'm not going to eat it later. But it's like, I can leave this here too. Like, I don't want to offend anyone. Like, if the chef is walking by and he's like, oh, that person didn't eat all their food. But, I think we have to let go of that too. If you really don't want it, you don't have to take it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too that we can think about, especially with holidays coming, is if there is leftover food, it can go in the freezer to be enjoyed in the in-between time, maybe. And maybe what you do is you get to-go containers and you package it up for a heat later that you can take with you to work, maybe at a different point. And, it can go for the next 6 months in the freezer.
Yeah.
Maybe you got a hankering for some Thanksgiving food and it's 3 months afterwards. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can pull it out then. It all doesn't have to be eaten right in the moment.
Yeah. Great tip. And I think that we, like you said, we forget about the freezer.
Yeah.
It's just not something, I mean, it's there and that it's an option, but your go-to is the fridge, and then stuff lives in there that's been in there forever. That's my other piece. Other piece is having to make sure I'm regularly cleaning out my fridge. Like, this time to let it go.
Yes.
It's time to let it go.
We're coming close to our end, but the one last thing that I just want to put out there too is exercise, because the movement is so important this time of year, and it's a little bit more challenging, now that the sun time shifting and all of those for those at least who live on the East Coast. And then not like the sun doesn't shift anywhere else, but
Yeah.
no.
I know.
But I was thinking Arizona is actually what I was thinking, because they don't do the time change, but whatever. Arizona, kudos to you.
Good job for you. Yeah.
They're so ahead of us on that. But yeah, like, and it's getting, for us over here, it's getting colder,
Yeah.
and so, and the sun is setting earlier, and it kind of just drags your momentum down
Yeah.
a little bit.
Because I was going to say that, I'm all about mental health. That's my jam. That's what I'm obsessed with. And this time of year, that is a thing, with the sun being not out when you're waking up and then not out at the end of the day. Exercise helps you with that too. So it's not just for extra activity points. It can also be a stress relief or a thing to keep you, I always think about Legally Blonde when she was like, exercise, releases endorphins.
Endorphins make you happy.
Endorphins make you happy. We don't kill people.
Right.
So if you don't want to kill people,
We need a shirt with that on it.
Yeah. I really think that should be a thing. Happy people don't kill people.
Amazing. Well, we hope maybe just, as we talked through this, maybe that brought some things to mind for you, that you can go into this holiday confidently and not scared, not expecting the worst. Let's hope for the best, but as a part of hope, there's also planning that goes into it. I would just encourage you to not let the holiday happen to you, but you happen to the holiday. So you're just showing up with your full self, the best that you can, and make the plan for what's worth it. And then also the game plan of how do you want to make it through the holiday. And I wouldn't even say, I think sometimes we say we're going to make it through something, like we're just trying to get to the next thing and the next thing, but really looking at it optimistically, especially even if it's your first time doing WWW, going through the holiday. Don't feel defeated before it's even gotten here, because you can win, you can be successful on this, and your success is entirely up to you in a really great way. So
absolutely.
Come join us in the Real WW Talk Facebook group. We've got a lot of encouragement there, a lot of great ideas sharing. The three of us are also on Connect. We are on Instagram, and we're on YouTube. We've got a podcast. You can pop us in your pocket and go. So, at least you can get one walk a week in 30 minutes with us. All right. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.